So in this second video for your CSPE action project, we are going to look at the first part of the action project. Now, do not fill in the title, okay? We're going to do that in class together on Tuesday. Have a think, and if you can come up with a cool title, I'd love to hear your suggestions. I asked Dolly would she come up with one, so she might have one to propose to the class on Tuesday. The next section, you have to tick all the different boxes that we kind of did, things we did. So we did do awareness raising, so tick that box, and we had a guest speaker in, so tick that box, and we did fundraising, so tick that box there. Okay. In section 2, we have to tick a box to say which concept our action project is related to. So it is related to human dignity. Now make sure that you have ticked that box, and below explain how your action project was based on the concept you have ticked. So human dignity is all about the provision of basic needs. Okay, it's things that are essential to a human, a man or a woman having a dignified life. It's things like food, health, security, and education. So you would write something like homelessness is very heavily, or you can use sort of any description there. Homelessness is very very heavily related to the concept of human dignity, because, and now I'm not going to tell you what to say, I want you to write down something. Now human dignity, remember, is all about the provision of basic needs: food, health, security, education. So how would that relate to homelessness? You fill that out here, okay? Again, it's just a quick sentence, just explain really briefly. In section 2, part B, what you have to do is explain why you chose to do this action project. So start off with something like, I chose to do my action, or this action project. I chose to do my action project on homelessness because. Now, why did you choose homelessness? So have a think. Pause the video here, have a think about why you chose homelessness. Okay, things you might have said were, as a class, we discussed different issues that were related, different issues that were topical. Say that, different issues that were topical. Or topical. Or different issues that we were interested in. You could say also the homelessness crisis. So homelessness crisis is a huge problem in Ireland, and in particular in Dublin. Maybe we chose homelessness because when you are in Dublin, you might see a lot of homeless people on the streets. You do see a lot of people begging, a lot of people sleeping rough. So in Dublin, in Dublin, we saw, or I saw, a lot of rough sleepers. Now just have 2 reasons, okay? So pick 2 reasons why. And then I want you to have one reason where you're kind of explaining how you wanted to learn more about it. Okay, so 2 reasons are kind of like this. Homelessness is a big issue. You saw homelessness as a class, you decided. They're the 2 reasons to start with. And then the third reason I want you to talk about is something like, we wanted to learn more. We or I, it doesn't matter which you use here, wanted to learn more about homelessness and what causes homelessness and what could help solve the homeless crisis. So there are 3 reasons. So 2 reasons are why you chose the topic, and 1 reason is something you wanted to learn about it. Now in section 3, part A, they want you to just list 2 people or groups you communicated with in the course of your action project. So don't put any specific names, okay? Some of you wrote down in your drafts Mr. Walrop or Mr. Forrest. If you want to say that you communicated with me, just write my CSPE teacher, okay? And if you want to write Mr. Forrest, just write my principal. Principal. You can also write Focus Ireland if you communicated with Focus Ireland. You can also talk about communicating with people who were in the same committee as you. So if you were, for example, in the bake sale committee, or you were bake sale manager, or you were research committee or note-taking committee, you talked to other people in your committee to help organize a certain thing, like maybe the bake sale organizers talked to each other so that they could split the work while they were setting up the bake sale. Some people have written down in drafts, they've already written this out, and they wrote down they talked to the canteen staff, or they've talked to other teachers. You can say Focus Ireland, or you can say you spoke to the guest speaker. The guest speaker from Focus Ireland. From Focus. So you have a load of different things there. But you'll see in the next section, you'll have to explain in what way you talked with them, okay? So make sure one of them that you choose, you can write a little story or a little brief experience of dealing with that person, okay? Okay, so this question is leading off from the previous question where it asked you about 2 people that you talked to. So you have to pick one of those and explain why you communicated with that person. So maybe you said you spoke to my CSP teacher, i.e. me. Or maybe you said you talked to Mr. Forrest, but don't write Mr. Forrest, you would say my principal. Or you would say Focus. You spoke to Focus, or the guest speaker, or the canteen staff, or other members of your committee. Now you're going to have to write why you had to communicate with that person. So I communicated with because I communicated with my CSPE teacher because I was in charge of the bake sale, and I had to find out how many people were going to bake and then let my CSP teacher know, because that meant that we would be able to find out how many nights we would be doing a bake sale. Would it be 1 night or 2 nights? It all depended on how many people we had volunteered to bake. I communicated with my principal because in order for us to have the bake sale, we had to get permission from him. This was very important. If we didn't get permission, we wouldn't have been able to do the fundraising. I communicated with Focus Ireland because we needed to have a guest speaker, or we wanted to have a guest speaker come in to talk to us, and we had to contact Focus Ireland to arrange for that to happen. I communicated with somebody in my committee. I was on the research committee, or the publicity committee, and I was in charge of putting posters up around the school. So I had to coordinate with another student about where we should put the posters up, what the posters should look like, all those sort of reasons. You just have to say who you communicated with and why you communicated with them, okay?